Can you imagine living in a city where your house is built right on top of a bridge where a single spark could erase entire neighborhoods overnight, and where the river beneath your feet decided everything: wealth, power, even life or death? This was London in the 17th century, the most powerful city in Europe and one of the most dangerous places on Earth. Today, using cutting-edge AI, we're stepping inside it. Ready? By the early 1600s, London was already enormous. Nearly 500,000 people, a staggering number for the time. This was no longer a quiet medieval town. Narrow streets twisted through a dense district. Buildings stacked higher with each generation, crammed tightly together. Markets spilled into alleyways. Smoke hung permanently in the air. People, goods, money, and power collided every single day. London was growing faster than anyone could control it, and that pressure shaped everything that followed. At the heart of this chaos flowed the River Thames. Not just a river, it was London's main highway, long before modern roads existed. Barges carried grain, timber, coal, and cloth. Merchant ships brought goods from Europe and across the Atlantic. Ferries moved people faster than any street ever could. The Thames connected London to the countryside, to the continent, and to global trade. Daily life depended on its flow. And nowhere did river and city collide more violently than at one single crossing. Old London Bridge wasn't just a bridge, it was an entire crowded street suspended above the Thames. Houses, shops, warehouses, chapels, and gates lined it so densely that from a distance it looked like a neighborhood stretching across the water. Families lived here for generations, right above the constant roar of carts, horses, and endless crowds. Tall timber houses leaned outward, blocking sunlight. The roadway below was dark, narrow, and perpetually jammed. Fire was always a threat, yet people stayed. Because if London had a pulse, this bridge was where you felt it beating. Retention, breath, lived experience. Imagine trying to sleep here, above the noise, above the river, knowing one mistake could end everything. The danger wasn't only on the bridge. Below it, the river turned deadly. Massive stone piers squeezed the Thames into narrow arches. The water surged with terrifying force. Powerful currents, deadly whirlpools. Boats trying to shoot the bridge often flipped. Accidents were routine. Lives were lost. And yet, until the 18th century, this was the only permanent crossing in central London. No alternative. One structure that served as infrastructure, marketplace, neighborhood, and symbol of power, all at once. But London's greatest threat didn't come from the river. It came from the city itself. Most buildings were timber, streets were narrow, houses packed tight. In September 1666, a tiny bakery fire started in a crowded alley. Within hours, it raged out of control. For 4 days, London burned. Over 13,000 homes destroyed, around 80,000 people homeless. Even the mighty St. Paul's Cathedral collapsed in a sea of flame. From across the river, the entire city looked like one gigantic wall of fire. retention breath. For those watching from the water, it must have felt like the end of the world. The destruction was immense, but it became London's turning point. The fire erased centuries of overcrowded construction. It forced the city to rebuild smarter, wider roads, brick instead of timber, modern planning. London didn't just survive the Great Fire, it was reshaped by it. Rising beside the Thames stood the Tower of London. By the 17th century, it was more than a fortress, an armory, a treasury, and England's most feared prison. Traitors were held within its walls. The crown jewels were guarded here. The tower was built to be seen and to be feared. A constant reminder that royal power was never far away. Cheapside was London's busiest commercial street and its grandest stage. In 1638, Marie de Medici's lavish procession passed through under extravagant decorations. Crowds cheered. Soldiers stood watch. But beneath the splendor lay unease. Her Catholic faith and foreign origins stirred suspicion in a city already sliding towards civil war. Further along the Thames stood Westminster and Whitehall. Parliament, Westminster Hall, the Abbey, and the King's sprawling palace all faced the river directly. The Thames wasn't just transport. It delivered politicians, clergy, and messengers straight to the doorstep of power. In an age of civil war and upheaval, the decisions made here reshaped England forever. Not everything lasted. Richmond Palace, once a peaceful royal retreat with clean air and gardens, offered escape from the crowded city. Queen Elizabeth I spent her final days here in 1603. Today, almost nothing remains, just faint outlines beneath modern streets. History moves on, and some places are left behind. Standing inside these AI-recreated spaces, the past feels closer than ever. These streets, buildings, and moments shape the world we live in today. And through AI, we're only one step away from being there. If you could travel back to any moment in history, revolutionary Paris, ancient Rome, 19th century Vienna, drop your idea in the comments. The suggestion with the most engagement will become the next video. Let's explore the past together.